is the second generation cream Manhattan urinal, introduced around the early 1980s or so, and made up until circa 1994. This generation of Manhattan is not only very rare, but also very interesting. But how well does it hold up? Let's find out. Design-wise, this urinal is very interesting, but also kind of plain. It basically looks like an egg almost. The trapway opening is this weird shape with a siphon jet towards the bottom. This thing has 5 rim jets on the top and 4 on each side around the sides. Let's have a look at a flush. Very weird flush. Let's have a look at ball rinse now. Yeah, it's not that great. You can definitely see that large gap it leaves, and there's even some areas over here on the sides that it kind of misses. Even though there are rim jets on there. Yeah, the ball rinse really isn't that good, honestly. As you can see, the rim jets on the side are not really designed the best either. They just kind of point straight downwards. Now let's talk about the functionality, because it really isn't the best. And it has to do with mainly one thing, the design of the urinal. As interesting as it is, it just doesn't work out that well. Mainly because of the ramjet designs, as there's very few in there, which explains the poor ball rinse. But this thing's also not very siphonic either. It actually needs a good bit of pressure in order really to properly flush out. But as you saw, it does it a lot, like it siphons out a lot, so something's wrong with the trapway design. And outside of that, it's just not really a greatly designed urinal. The design just doesn't work, and therefore it causes a lot of problems, especially on lower pressures. And that's the second generation Crane Manhattan urinal. A very interesting but very flawed urinal. I can see why these things are so freaking rare, because they don't function the best. It is a very interesting looking urinal, but overall, it does not hold up that well. But let's put this urinal into the grading scale. Let's grade it. The overall design of the second generation Crane Manhattan is very interesting. While yes, it's kind of shaped like an egg, it does have some interesting elements like the rim design and so much more. Overall, I give it a 6. Never would have thought I had to use the term Cola Walworth Light Flush with a freaking urinal, but here we are. This thing kind of flushes kind of broken, and you can definitely tell it's not very siphonic either, as sometimes it doesn't even properly siphon out sometimes. This thing flushes and siphons out very rapidly, which is very weird, and doesn't seem very normal. While that would be an interesting flush, it just doesn't look right. I give it a 5. The ball rinse is not very good. The main problem is that the back rim is only reliant on 5 rim jets, and that's it. This is the same design as standard out there pretty much used, and the ball rinse really isn't that good on that either. And while there are some rim jets towards the front, it doesn't help out that the ball rinse is kind of poor. For a urinal this size, it's kind of pitiful. I have to give it a 5. The functionality of this urinal is not very great either. It's kind of lackluster, honestly. Outside the poor ramjet design, this thing doesn't seem very siphonic either, and it just flushes in a very weird way. Not to mention that a lot of pressure is needed to really flush this thing out, and even then, it still feels kind of broken. Overall, while the design aspects are interesting, they just don't really work with this urinal. I have to give it a 5. Now let's talk about the overall value of this urinal. It's kind of crazy that I went my entire life without seeing this urinal till now, but then I kind of realized why, because the quality of this urinal is not so great. As interesting as it is, I was very disappointed with some of the qualities of this urinal. The poor ramjet design, the not so siphonic functionalities of this urinal, and not to mention the very weird and kind of broken flush. If only this urinal was redesigned a little bit better, there could have been a lot more to this urinal, but as it is, it's just kind of meh. That's why the value is a 5.
The final score of the second generation Cream Manhattan urinal is a 26 out of 50, which translates to a 52 out of 100. Man, I was expecting a lot more from this urinal, but it ended up being a lot more disappointing than I expected. As interesting as the design is, the design overall is why most of the qualities are so poor. This was the urinal I was expecting a little bit more out of, but at the end of the day, it ended up being disappointingly meh.